of Orca Oshi Capital Management, and shout out to my partner Ronnie. He's extraordinary behind the scenes, you all. I mean, lighting, from how I look to lighting, my lupus, I have an autoimmune illness, not a big deal. We just, what's the word I'm looking for? We just sterilize the inside. So let's jump right in, shall we? 80% of central banks plan to have a central bank digital currency. China has expanded the yuan into 11 cities, and I cannot pronounce any of them, so I will spare you the insult just simply because I don't want to do that. Japan's completed its beta second round. The feds are going to hike rates, as I said last time, because Jerome Powell, that's just who he is as a human being. I told people, and I have all the metadata from 2 years ago where I said they are going to lower rates like Dunkin' Donuts, dunk them rates, drive up debt, which, by the way, congratulations, America, a round of applause. $41.8 billion credit card debt in the month of February. Ow, ow. Round of applause. That was not expected. Nonetheless, I said 2 years ago we were going to dunk the rates like donuts, drive up debt, and then hike those mother effers like an Elon Musk rocket. And babies, I think I might be onto something, because looks like in May we're going to have a 0.5 basis point. I don't know how to use the vernacular properly. It's monetary policy. You'll never hear me say a dumb sentence such as the Treasury prints the money. So as long as we're clear on that, if I can't pronounce words or don't use them properly, I just try to avoid that. You tracking with me? Anyway, you get the drift. June's going to have a rate hike as well. How interesting. How fun. How fun is this? And as I predicted last time, they got to shrink that balance sheet. Mortgage-backed securities and treasuries. And I just want to know, who the fuck wants to buy treasuries from the US right now when Russia has come out and said, we got accounts in the yuan? And I have no idea why. America, to me, is, and no disrespect in any way, shape, or form to any of you. Everyone knows I have PTSD, have struggled with mental health. America is dying by 1,000 cuts. It's self-inflicting. I will never understand why the United States allowed Russia to default debt and did not let them pay the debt back. Riddle me that, please, you all. Please, somebody. It's something, it hasn't happened since the Bolshevik Revolution, and I am not a history major. I'm just very good with analytics, etc. And we saw the 30-year fixed rate cross 5%. Remember in 2007-8, it was around 6%. So ooh la la, houses on sale soon. We've seen the inventory flood the market recently, and a 40% drop. And I forgot what I wanted to say because I have pervasively awful ADHD. So I'll when I can finish a sentence. I think I just have so much information in my noggin. Got to talk about it. Russia and China. China's buying Russian energy. So that's interesting, with the yuan, not the dollar. And remember, Russia, biggest oil conglomerate. Aramco, most important. So you have Aramco with the Trans-Arabian Pipeline, Trans-Arabia, Batmana, Asalam, Lokil, and Habak Arabia. And you have the Trans-Arabian, which runs Saudi Arabia, Israel, Lebanon, Iraq. It's the shortest oil transport. And guess what? China is now is buying oil from Russia with their yuan. And the IMF has not changed the stance of five world currencies self-identifying as one. We got 5 reserve currencies identifying as one. So back to the balance sheet shrinking thing. We got the mortgage rates being hiked. And then we have the balance sheet, which is about $9 trillion. I don't know where the Walmart debt falls into that. I don't know if they got rid of it, but I always just was wondering what the fuck, because nothing is too big to fail. Remember that. So they want to shrink it about 95 billion monthly. think they said something around the ballpark, and I got different vibes and information. And as someone who reads the Fed Reserve website, I think they said 60 billion in treasuries. Who the fuck wants to buy them? But don't worry, the tea is coming about some student debt and 35 in mortgage-backed securities. And I'm just wondering whose mortgages, and were those mortgages in forbearance? Are those the ones that got forebode? I don't know the proper term, but I just know I wasn't stimulated by the government during the awful health existential crisis. I just unfortunately received the existential health on top of existential health. But the mortgage demand, there we go, down from 40% from a year ago. But let's talk student debt, shall we? Come on, lean in closer and take a shot of your vodka. This is going to be good. And I know some people drop it in the C section below. Some people are going to say I'm lying, even though you can fact check the F out of me. Cheers. Okay. Slabs. So, as a proud college dropout, I never bought the lie that I needed a degree. And it really wasn't even because of that reason. It was a bunch of family drums and my way of wanting to be with my mom, who was beating cancer at the time. So I stopped my senior year. I kicked ass at school. It was great. But I also was offered so many scholarships, and I'm so glad I didn't take them. And independent fees and descent as pre pour moi, because oh mon dieu, I would be so fucking miserable if I had pursued the field in which I wanted to originally do. Slabs. Who's heard of them? Does anybody know how loans started? Anybody got some history on student loans? Because when I see $1.7 trillion in student loan debt, I said, and yes, I just have one sock on. I don't know why. Maybe I should read into that a little bit more. And looks to me like the student loan debt is very similar to the subprime mortgage lending market. Remember, for those who've seen the movie The Big Short, subprime means shit. Basically, just janky, not worth a damn. They're even doing it with auto, which, back to what I was saying, the slabs, they're exactly what they sound like. No, they're not exactly what they sound like at all. In fact, finance loves to make up these terms. Bespoke tranche opportunities, for example, are mortgage-backed securities, collateralized debt obligations, the bundling of mortgages to be sold and leveraged on derivatives. But I wanted to get a good definition, so let me grab my phone. All right, trusted phone. Here we go. Securities, because I want the definition. Everybody grab a pen and paper and let's get to talking. Securities based on outstanding student loans. The loans are packaged into securities that investors can buy. Sounds super, super cute, which delivers scheduled coupon payments like ordinary bonds, and the rest of that's boring. So basically, here's the deal. Colleges and financial institutions said, you know what we can do? Let's fetish the fuck out of college, because millennials, Alex, your age group, dumb as fuck. So here's what we're going to do, especially post-recession. We're going to market the hell out of college. We're going to make it seem as though a degree owns you. And that, I mean, you're going to have your college logo on. You're going to meet alumni. You're going to meet a sorority, all of that. We are going to shove propaganda down your throat from age kindergarten. Thank God my parents just let me do me, because oof, and just convince you that you have to have a college degree to be something. You know what we're going to do as well? We're going to convince you that you need degrees on top of degrees on top of degrees. And we'll work with the corporations too. So you have a starting salary that you can't negotiate to keep you as a bottom feeder. You tracking with me? So it's super, super smart. So super smart people got together and they said, how can we take advantage of dumb people? Super dumb people. Okay, great. So we're going to convince them that they need this degree, this piece of paper that essentially you can go Adobe Photoshop. Awesome. But we need to convince them that they need more of them. Okay, great. I got some statistics. Let me grab my phone again because I don't want you all. These statistics are fantastic. Oh, I did have 0.5 rate hikes. Never mind. I already got this down. Here we go. I think I forgot to even put it into my phone. So I'm very sorry. No, I texted it to my friend, my partner, Ronnie. And again, shout out to Ronnie. You guys, he does the best BTS behind the scenes for Orca. Okay, so the average for a 35-year-old, which is not, I'm not 35. I'll run for president when I'm 35. So I'm going ahead and announcing my presidential bid tonight because it looks like the world's going to fucking need me. The average 35-year-old with student loans in the United States of America, 42 comma 600. I like digits and numbers, but not when I owe them. The bar slave to the lender, King Solomon knew what he was doing. He crashed the silver market. Read all about it. And student loan debt. And by the time they repay the debt, I had to just read it triple the time. So I went 287% from the original borrowing number. What? And in 1970, student loan debt of 1,070 adjusted for inflation would be about 7,177. So what are they doing? They are selling your debt and swapping it. Well, I don't want to say swapping it. I don't want to be, what's the word? I don't want to be incorrect. So I'll do some more research. But how many of you feel duped? How many of you took out loans to get those degrees? And I'll tell you what, they added degrees such as gender studies, and no hate if that is what you majored in, basket weaving, these general majors, and then said you need a degree on top of a degree, and then a PhD, and then another degree. I literally, on my LinkedIn, you all, go and count people's degrees and do the math in my head and think to myself, wow, yikes. Because think about it. What do you all think? Drop it in the C section below. Do you think that, first off, student loan debt forgiven? Nay, 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 nay. It is a money making business. 10% for sure. There's a lot of caveat and nuanced around if Miss Sally Mae is a federal entity. It's not. Sally Mae's not. So we got Ginny, Freddie, Fannie, and Sally. Freddie and Fannie are housing, Ginny's shadow banking sector, and Miss Sally, we got the student loan. So we're getting Freddie, Fannie, Ginny, Sally. Freddie and Fannie are for housing. Ginny Mae is for the mortgage, for the shadow banking sector. And Miss Sally is not a federal entity and is student loan lending. Cute, right? Thanks, Lyndon Baines Johnson from the Defense Act in the 70s. But it really kind of started with Rockefeller. There's a whole history behind it. However, if I had borrowed money, I would be fucking furious because I do find it interesting. Obviously, they're never going to cancel it. They can't. The financial institutions are too invested. $1.7 trillion to you all is gains for them, especially derivatives, because who doesn't pay their debt back without massive repercussions with credit? Am I right or am I right? Except maybe now after COVID and forbearances, this is why they just keep extending it, in my opinion. But I'm going to go ahead and just make a little projection. And I hope you all spill the tea. No one has ever said this. I've never heard a financer. I've never heard anybody talking on whatever side. Again, this is why I'm going to go ahead and announce my presidential bid, because I promised to put out something real. And then I promised to weekly put out a conspiracy theory. For example, Titanic, JP Morgan built it. So as president, I will weekly or bi-weekly keep you all entertained and super distracted. That way no one gets hurt and everyone can just go down the rabbit hole. And that's the type of society we want to live in now. Everyone can just argue on Twitter. And I do want to adjust one more thing. So if you are a part of the slab group, do some research, drop it in the C section, educate myself. But I do think a student loan bundled, whatever the fuck you want to call it, a slab with subprime lending market, A plus B equals oh fuck, a financial crisis, collapse. And that's not including our dollar collapsing based on the IMF, which identifies 5 currencies of one: the yen, the yuan, the dollar, the euro, and the pound. Of course, a race for central bank digital currencies. We get it. I know the European Union and Europe, the pound, they want to all make theirs, I think it might be the US is included, interchangeable, which is interesting because fiat currency is interchangeable. So I guess they saw that Japan and China were kicking ass, especially China, who, by the way, is having their central bank digital currency already going to Hong Kong. So they will have already for dining and I want to say entertainment. Fact check the fuck out of me. By the way, Shanghai was locked down for COVID again. Not sure if you guys give a fuck, but the modern day Mao, look, looking you guys in the eyes, all of you. Modern day Mao is a motherfucking problem. I'm not going to talk to you and about bespoke tranche opportunities and use all this fancy lingo. Modern day Mao, the leader of China, is an existential threat. And Evergrande, their advisory board, decided to pay offshore bondholders, international ones. Why does this matter? China so eloquently collapsed their real estate market, which is worth a mere $53 trillion. Ooh, 2020. Okay. And they're still finishing building. They're just not paying the bondholders back. What does this mean for the people who are invested with a 401k or pension? I know UBS got cactus fucked by China and the Russia crisis. I wonder who else. I'll have to get back to you all on that. But Evergrande is the second largest property developer in the world, and 28% of China's GDP comes from real estate. So I wonder what they have up their sleeve with Russia and China keeping their valued currency quite low. Huh. Oh, not to mention, I think I said this last time, but China has already started to develop real estate projects in the yuan. But the advisory board of Evergrande did say we're going to pay some international bondholders back. But is that enough? Being that Los Angeles leases streets for liquidity? So look at me when I say this. Black-haired Barbie doll, blockchain, Bitcoin, booze, and let's take another shot for the year of the contrarian. Everyone said I was crazy until they realized I was not. Mm. Oh yeah, one more thing. The 32, I want to say thousand. I don't even know how to measure gold because I'm not a biologist. Well, not biologist, gemologist, whatever ologist needs to be. However, Russia and China have a fuck ton. So I guess we can cheers to that and to JP Morgan always stocking their vaults. Jamie Dimon is that dude. However, will we see the world go to a gold backed something? What do you all think? Drop it in the C section. And you don't have to be a biologist or a gemologist or an architectural engineer to know about gold. You just probably know more than myself. As a digital asset manager and then someone in fintech, I'm enjoying watching everyone lose their money because I tried to be a friend. I'm not giving financial advice. I just wanted to be a friend. And what I love about my partner, Ronnie, you all, is he's so good behind the scenes. He's so encouraging. He's so codifying. And he listened. And I kept telling him, Habibi, you're going to wait for everything to go on sale. And caveat, you all, semiconductors, chips, wheat. Remember, these are imported. Remember, don't never forget, China had stockpiled the world's largest wheat supply. By 2021, the Ukraine is one of the largest exporters. Ain't that something? So are we all calling this a coinky dink? C-section, let me know. I am looking for developers and programmers for some projects for Orca, but my partner Ronnie's extraordinary. He listened. And I don't mean to say I celebrate seeing people in the negative, but as a contrarian and a fund manager for what is best for myself, hypothetical clients, my partner of 19 years in a global brand, book deal coming soon. Aside from, and then of course the docu-series, and then we'll go to personal life because no one puts the fun and dysfunctional like I do. So that should be enough. I love you all so much. Je t'aime, te amo, bisu besu bachi. Anna Habek, un independent fils de Saint-Esprit, je suis très mal. I'm very sick. My kidneys are inflamed, but I love you all so much. Had to get on and just dump the pot because I bet I'm curious. Do you all know about student loan debt that's owed being sold on the market with banks involved, such as Wells Fargo? Fact check the fuck out of me. It will enlighten you and also say, huh, is college a scam? Fair question. I love you all. I hope you all have I hope you all are preparing for the worst depression that we've ever seen. I find it interesting. Deutsche Bank came out and said 2023. It's sooner, let's hope. But let me know you guys' thoughts. Do you think I'm off? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm rude? Finance doesn't give a fuck about feelings. So I apologize if I didn't put a trigger warning in the beginning, but I love you all. I need to get some rest. I love you and head back to Tim Damo. Please, please, please be blessed, healthy, wealthy, stay close to God. If you can't do anything financially, you can pray, you can prepare, you can read. I am a voracious reader. I will go to page 17 Google to find the answer and to use quantifiable data to come to a conclusion. And I would love for any programmer or developer to hit me up. And I love you guys. Speak to you soon.